Thanks, Lachlan. Wow. Don't you love being around all these energy geeks? Well, we probably didn't tell you before you came, but we're actually intending to turn you all into energy geeks. We've never really thought about energy much before as people. We've thought about it when we got our bill, which wasn't probably a very pleasant experience, and we've thought about it when we've lost it, and that's also not a pleasant experience. And so I guess we're probably, as a world, we all have to think more about energy. We all have to become energy geeks. We have to become a lot more engaged and not passive consumers anymore. We have to actually really know why it is we're turning things on during the evening when we could be doing it during the day. We need to be thinking about how we shift our load and how we behave and use energy, because it affects our planet. It affects this beautiful place where we live and love, and I think, you know, the little bits you can do makes you great leaders for everyone else, for everyone that follows you, everyone around you. And I think this is a really exciting thing for Flinders. It makes Flinders, this is a real opportunity, this battery, to put you at the very edge, leading edge of energy augmentation, energy network development in the country. So there were 2 councils that received this funding for this battery, and this Mornington Peninsula Shire, even though I submitted the application, all the work was done 2 years prior by the community energy group here, Flinders Zero Carbon Community, and you know that is to be congratulated. They are to be congratulated. Council, you know, sees that work as very admirable, and really wishes to support their endeavour. And that's why when council was approached to own this battery and assist with the deployment of it, there wasn't any opposition. So I will just jump forward on the slide and I'll show you a bit of council's goals. We've got a goal of 70% reduction of energy by 2030. And we've already, on our own buildings since 2017, we've installed 1.67 megawatts of solar. And I'm not a statistician, so I'll just bring up my statistics here, because it's not really my area, but we generate of our own solar at council an annual generation of 2,090 megawatt hours, and that's the equivalent of 1,372 tonnes of avoided carbon annually, and it's also an annual savings to council of $250,000. So if that's what one council can do, imagine if every council did that, and think about that as a small community, what you can do, because we're talking about energy emissions here, and you can see in this teal colour here, the 58% is all related to our stationary emissions, and that's our emissions on the Mornington Peninsula. So we need to that's where we can have the greatest impact, by changing our stationary emissions and changing our behaviours and how what energy we use and how we store it and how we use it. So we've also partnered with Repower Mornington Peninsula, and Flinders Zero Carbon, even though they're established first, are a satellite group of Repower. And what Repower have been really clever at doing is taking that great beast of, you know, climate change and reducing it down to something we can grapple with, and breaking down the whole of the peninsula emissions to postcodes, so that every postcode knows and is aware of their emissions and they're able to track it. So this year you can see the reduction already in Flinders. That was last year. You can see the drop there just by the amount of solar installs, which was 42, I think it was 42 last year, which was above national average. The average is about 38%. That's 1 in 3 households in Australia now have solar. So last year was great for Flinders. We're aiming to try and get it up to like a reduction every year, so that we're up around 25.8%. You can see there the rooftop generation versus potential is at 10%. So I think Flinders has got some way to go, and I think this battery helps us talk about energy and what we can be doing, and helps us talk with our neighbours about putting solar on if we don't already have it, because we need to reach this target, and it's something council's really keen to support. And I know that there are lots of other postcodes on the peninsula now that are looking at Flinders enviously and really wish they had a community battery, and they've approached council and asked us to apply for batteries, and we've put in submissions for Rosebud, Hastings and Mount Eliza, and you can get those in the last round of funding. So it's hard to get. We've currently got one in for Red Hill, and they're really hopeful that they that area will receive one, but it's very competitive. Noosa and Mornington and Flinders were the only two that have got them from a council, that are council-owned community batteries. So we're special. So moving on, I guess this is the meaty and exciting part Lachlan was getting to, outside of all of the energy excitement, the geeky stuff. But we did look at those sites, and I think I might just take us back to that slide that he touched on earlier. First of all, this one here in the Kingley network. We had to select a site for the submission, for the federal government submission, and because of the high penetration of solar in this area, the network was very keen to support it. We have to secure United Energy's approval to attach this battery to their network and augment it into their system. And this provides a solution for them, because a battery here would reduce the need to curtail solar exports and reduces any extra constraint that the amount of solar creates. And as Lachlan very well educated us, we need to use we need to store that energy rather than lose it, that we're producing during the day, so it's available to us in the evening. So we then brought down a team of the project working group, which involved some officers from council as well as the people mentioned in the partnership here. And we walked King Street, and we selected these two sites purely, not just because of the elements we've described earlier, the environmental elements with the vegetation, the flat land, the wide nature strip, but these two were selected because neither of those two properties had access from King Street. They accessed the properties around from Double Creek Road. So we thought they were probably the least impacted if a battery was to go there. I can say though that those two property owners are not supportive of the battery going there. The owner of, which they have a right to be, and it's not in council's interest to, impose this on someone's property or outside someone's property, impose this on them and cause stress. This is not a stress-creating exercise. This is meant to be a feeling like that Flinders has got something special and doing something special here. So we don't want people feeling aggrieved about this. The site behind B is also has some degree of development through heritage protection. So it is listed as under some sort of degree of inquiry around that. So we do need to look further afield, and we can. So we've had lots of feedback already on the community, from the community through this Flinders Zero Carbon website, and we've had a very clear response from people who aren't owner-occupiers here that they felt that they were uninformed about this project, With councillors sent letters out to every post box and owner of every property within the Flinders urban boundary, and we have endeavoured to reach those people on King Street, and we've sent letters to near residents impacted by those two sites. So we are working with them, and we have other opportunities. So I'll just quickly go through this slide here. This is a close-up of Flinders. In that feedback from the community, a lot of people asked, why not council land? Why not council park? Why not the hopper? Yeah. So I think we've educated you, people here, enough to know that we need to try and land on a residential area. The green areas that are shaded green are not owned by council. They're owned by the artists formerly known as DELP, DECA. So it's state government land, makes it very complicated. We have a timeline for this battery to be deployed by June, which is a really tight timeline. And we had a deadline for 6th of December for us to confirm a site in Flinders. So since receiving the responses back from the residents in King Street, we have gone and asked for a special extension so that we can reach out and hold permanent display and pop-up information booth over the Christmas holidays so that we can reach those owners that are down here over the holiday period and do our best to inform them of this project. The only council-owned land uniquely in Flinders is the yellow shaded area. So we have reached out to United Energy to ask whether that yellow spot, the park here in Cook Street, is appropriate for the community battery, and whether they would agree to it being located there, and we've had a positive response from them. So that's a possibility. The only issue there is it's not in the residential area, so you've got businesses there with high demand that will drain that solar from the battery during the day rather than load it up. So the performance won't be as optimum, but we're certainly looking at that as a possibility. I think some of you may be aware that the golf club has recently received a state government installation of solar, battery and backup power supply. That was funded by state government. I think there's been some issues around the announcement of that because Lily D'Ambrosio was meant to come down and announce that to the community, but the day that she was due to do that, Dan Andrews resigned, so that was promptly cancelled. And I think the golf club and DECA are working on a public announcement of that, if that hasn't already happened through the golf club network. But we did look at potentially the golf club as another potential site. So, but United Energy have already come back and said that the network in that street the transformer is too small, and there'd be quite a lot of network upgrade needed that may make that implausible. So they're the other options I think I can tell you, and I think I'm going to hand back to Mari to take over now, and I'm here for questions after as well. Thank you.